Hey everybody, my name is Matt Klaskowski and wanted to just do a very quick video for you here. 5 things that I think as a Lightroom user, you'll definitely want to check out in Perfect Photo Suite from ON1 because I think there's definitely just some really key areas that the entire, all of the apps complement Lightroom. The first one's going to be just a quick browse. So think of it this way. We get back, we look at our photos, we've got all these different folders, and Lightroom's got an import process, but sometimes before we even get there, we just want to really quickly see our photos, see them really fast. So I haven't been into this folder yet before, but I'm going to double click on it. It's got a whole bunch of 36 megapixel raw photos in it, and you can see it will show you the thumbnails instantly. All right, instantly shows you the thumbnails. I can scroll through and I'm not waiting to see anything. I can scroll up and down. I see all my thumbnails. So that's cool. But what's really nice about it, if I want to get a bit of a more detailed view, I can actually make the photo larger. I can hit the right arrow key and I can just start to go through my photos and I can see all of the detail in the photos. So now I can make decisions on my favorite photos. But again, I'm going back to really what the most important thing is sometimes we just want a quick way to see our photos fast. All right, we don't want to bring them in. We don't want to start editing yet. We just want a quick way to see them fast. If you go up here to the photo menu, I've got color labels and ratings and all those things. I can even create albums of my favorite ones. But the cool integration part of this with Lightroom is that if you do ever want just this front end to Lightroom where you're just looking at your photos really fast, but now you want to bring them into Lightroom and maybe you've done some quick star ratings here inside of Perfect Browse, you want to bring them into Lightroom, all you got to do is right click, select those photos, and you can send them right into Lightroom. So now not only do they go into Lightroom, but here's the cool part, is Lightroom will see all of those star ratings. So now your work is already done. All of your selecting work is done. When you get into Lightroom, you're ready to get down to business and start editing and managing your photos. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's just as a front end to Lightroom if you just want a really fast way to look at your photos. I think the next place that we'll want to look at when it comes to using Lightroom to me is actually the perfect companion to Lightroom, and that's ON1's Perfect Effects. Because Lightroom is great. You know, Lightroom is awesome at overall exposure changes and color balance and coloring changes, whites, blacks, different things like that. Lens correction, sharpening, noise reduction. Lightroom works great. But to me, the true companion is something that lets me take my style to the next level, because that's what I think we look for after Lightroom. So we want the style and we want the overall look to our photos. So if you jump into Perfect Effects, then what it's going to do is it's going to take the version of your photo that you've already edited inside of Lightroom, and it's going to let you work on a copy of it, where now you can start to add just some different styles and effects to the photo. So just by going through, if you look at some of the presets inside of here, all of the different film and matte looks, you're gonna get a lot of different options right off of the bat, and it's just one click. Just click on it and it's going to apply a preset. But not only are you going to get a lot of different options, if you want to go into the filters and really start to work with them, I think that's where a lot of this becomes very powerful, because now I can go into some of the different tone enhancers, some of the different options. We have tonal contrast, which people love to add to their photos. It just adds a nice contrasty, almost sharpened 3D like quality to the photo. And what's really nice about Perfect Effects is you have a brush that you can go in and paint it away from parts of the photo that you don't want it to affect. So if it negatively affects the skin or the sky or some rocks or trees in a photo and you want to paint it away from there, you can do that and still get the effect from the rest of the photo. I can even stack filters on top of each other. So I've got another one that's a favorite of mine. It's called Warm Polarizer. And what Warm Polarizer does is it just kind of adds, kind of a warm feeling to the whole photo, but it also adds a little bit of a contrast to the photo. It's a great way to finish off portraits because it typically leaves the skin alone, if not making it a little bit better, just by giving it a little bit more warmth. You've got layer opacity, so you can reduce the effect of any one of those layers that you stack on top of there. And then when you're done, just hit apply. It'll take you right back over to Lightroom with your photo. So now you'll have a copy of your stylized version of your photo that you can then continue to work on or start sharing when you need to. A lot of times when we're in Lightroom, we also want to work on two images together. We want to blend two images together in some way, and we can't do that in Lightroom. We're restricted to just working on one photo. So that's where layers come in. We can come up here and jump into Perfect Layers. There's an option to open up each photo separately, or you'll even see that we can open them up together, and Perfect Layers will actually stack them right on top of each other. All right, so now I've got two layers inside of here. I've got blend modes, which is one of the advantages of layers, so I can go through here and kind of just visually pick which one works best. And then don't forget, you've got your selection tools, which allow you to go in here and start to remove the effects from the parts of the photo where you don't want it to apply to. So I don't want this texture over her or the couch, so I just paint it away. Let the program do the work for me so I can get rid of all this different area here on the couch, but I still keep the texture in the background. And don't forget, when you get layers, you get opacity, so you can still reduce the opacity or change any of the blend modes as you start to blend these two images together. When you're done, just hit save and it takes you right back over to Lightroom. So you'll have your original images, but you'll also have this composite image where everything's combined together, and now you can keep that together and you can manage it all right within Lightroom. If you think of one of the really compelling reasons why sometimes we need to leave Lightroom, it's cloning and healing. Lightroom's cloning and healing actually works really good a lot of times. But what it needs is it needs something in the photo that it can try to fix the photo from. Okay, it's got a source from somewhere, and when it doesn't have that, you're going to get some pretty inconsistent results here. So while it works great on some smaller areas and spots and different small distractions, it's not going to work when it just can't find anything in the photo to fix it from, because it can't make up its own. So that's where Perfect Layers comes in. In addition to having layers, it's got some really killer retouch tools. To me, my favorite one's going to be the Perfect Eraser, because it does just that. It not only looks around the area that you're painting, but it's also going to use its technology to actually create a fix for you. Okay, so if it can't find something immediately around the photo, it'll actually patch this with something else. It'll actually figure out what it should patch it with. Rather than needing to sample or source from a specific point in the photo, it can make its own fix inside the area. So if you ever do have one of those spots inside of Lightroom, Perfect Layers is a great choice to go in there and remove some of those distractions. Portrait retouching is another one of those areas where we typically move out of Lightroom to someplace else to kind of help finish off the photo. Lightroom has the adjustment brush. It's actually got some portrait retouching features inside of here. The problem is if you really want detailed portrait retouching, you want to work on the skin, you want to work on the eyes separately, the teeth separately, and have some different brushes to work with. You'll probably want to check out Perfect Portrait, because that'll give you a lot more options. So we can jump over straight from within Lightroom to Perfect Portrait. What it's going to do is when it opens up the photo, it actually detects the eyes and the mouth for you. And it does a really good job, but if you ever need to, you can even go in here and kind of tweak some of the lines if you need to. And by doing this, now all we have to do is move sliders, because it's already detected the eyes. So if I go down to the eyes and the mouth section, I wouldn't want to do this. I actually think the default settings work the best here. It's a very light and just unobtrusive retouch for the photo. It doesn't make the skin look porcelain or anything. But if you ever wanted to, if you want to brighten those eyes a little bit more, you've got sliders that'll let you do it. If you want to add a little bit of detail to the eyes, you can do that. You can even hide the controls. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see, but you can kind of crank these sliders back and forth, and you can see the difference there. All right, and then when you want to, just show the controls again. If I want to work on the mouth here again, I can whiten the teeth. I don't want to go that bright with it, but it's good to know that you always could. And it also depends on the starting photo. What's really nice about it to me is the amount of smoothing can be controlled, although I think most people usually keep it low, but it's got these other sliders for shine, shadows, different areas like that. So you can notice she's got a little bit of shine on her nose and her forehead. I'm just going to crank it up. I don't normally crank it up this high, but I just want to show you the difference. All right, that's before. That's after. So you can see we can remove that shine, and I would probably split the difference there. So you've got a lot of nice controls inside of here, and you've even got retouching brushes. So if I just wanted to just lessen those darker areas under her eyes. I would never do it at 100% opacity, but if I bring this down here to 40 or 50%, I can just brush right underneath the eyes and kind of just lessen some of those dark areas. Just take a little bit of attention away from it without necessarily making the photo look fake. Okay, and when you're done, just like all the other options, you just hit apply, you're right back into Lightroom, and you can continue your overall workflow for the photos. So when it comes to using Perfect Photo Suite as Lightroom, I think it's a great companion. It's not only a great companion on the front end with all of the perfect browse options, but I think it's a great companion on the back end after you do all your Lightroom work and then finishing off your photo.